Floudopoulos. I'm the editor-in-chief of Capital.gr, and I will host the next session focused on the role of EIB in shaping the energy landscape. With us, we have the Vice President of the European Investment Bank, Mr. Christian Kettel Thomsen. Mr. Thomsen, thank you very much for being with us today. So let me start by posing a couple of questions in order for you to elaborate on the role of the EIB in energy funding. Mr. Thomsen, what has changed during the recent years as far as it concerns the funding of energy projects, and how the recent crisis with the war is affecting the situation? What type of projects are now eligible? What is the role of EIB within the framework of energy transition? And also, could you elaborate on the energy project that the EIB has funded in Greece? And tell us, please, also how ready is EIB to fund new energy projects in innovative areas such as hydrogen and energy storage. Mr. Thomsen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Harry. Just go up here.
Okay.
And thank you again, and thank you to the organizers of the Delphi Forum for the invitation to speak here today to this audience about the EIB role in the European energy landscape. And let me start by saying a little bit about the war in Ukraine, how it influences this, because the war in Ukraine has dramatically changed the policy framework and realities in Europe in many ways, but at the heart of it is energy. European leaders has set out to break the mutual interdependence between Europe and Russia in this field. And this brings into very sharp focus the importance of energy supply, energy diversification, autonomy of energy resources, and resilient energy infrastructure. It also reminds us that this global competition for certain products which impacts very locally on consumers and businesses. The war and sanctions have further increased the already high energy prices, putting a strain on household budgets of low-income families and challenging businesses of all sizes. And from recent EU Council meetings, it is clear that further solidarity in sourcing and connecting energy are key points for Europe. I think that in the short term, countries, they will, to the extent possible, substitute Russian fossil fuels to the energy and use the energy actually at hand, even if this is not always aligned with the energy transition paths that countries have embarked upon. In the medium term and the longer term, countries should, however, stick firmly to the 2050 Paris goals on net zero carbon emissions. War or not, climate change will continue to be a main and growing challenge for societies, as is also witnessed by an increasing number of extreme weather events every year. And in fact, the ambition to become independent of Russian energy fits perfectly with the climate target to have a European economy with net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. They go hand in hand. More European supply of renewable energy, higher energy efficiency, and better integrated European energy markets are key solutions to both challenges. And they are the main mitigants of high energy prices in both the shorter and the longer term. The EIB has been at the heart of financing energy infrastructure since we were created in 1958. And long-term infrastructure projects that have brought heat, light, mobilities, and opportunities to millions of people inside and outside EU. And last year we signed contracts for energy projects for an amount of almost 15 billion euros. And we are set to continue on this path and actually to increase our efforts. As the EU Climate Bank, we're committed to it. And our mission is to plug financing gaps in the market and crowd in private and public investors. And these financing gaps, they are particularly present in investments that, sort of from financially speaking, have a relatively high risk profile. And we will increase our efforts in particularly three areas: more renewable energy to substitute fossil fuels, including Russian gas and oil; more and smarter grids and interconnectors to accommodate more and greener electricity, combined with better integrated energy markets; and not least, investments in higher energy efficiency. And let me say a few words on each of these three. During the last decade, European renewable energy capacity has increased by a factor of 3, notably through investments in solar panels and wind turbines. This development has been driven by dramatically falling prices for installing new renewable capacity, resulting from maturing industries and technologies, stronger competition, and also economic regulation that has become more conducive to private investments in these areas. And the effect has been that subsidies needed for installing new renewable capacity has decreased strongly, and in effect, many auctions are now concluded without subsidies because solar and wind have become cost competitive. I think, therefore, that Europe has a good basis to accelerate the growth in renewable energy capacity. And the EIB, we will play our role in this endeavor. We will provide financial risk-taking and both technical and financial due diligence that contributes to incentivize private capital. We have financed a number of renewable energy projects in Greece, dispersed throughout mainland Greece, in Karditsia and Imathia, and on the islands of Evia, Crete, Cyclades, and northern Aegean. And then in our business pipeline, we have several renewable energy projects, mainly located in the decarbonization areas of Western Macedonia. We also support investments in hydrogen. This goes for both the technology and production itself, but also into scaling up and new business models. We believe that green hydrogen has a very interesting potential in the medium and longer term to replace the current high natural gas and conventional hydrogen consumption in various energy-intensive industries like fertilizer, refinery, and chemicals. And hydrogen can also have a role in storage when production of renewable energy, when the sun shines or the wind blows, is higher than demand, and thereby provide an alternative buffer to batteries when there's not so much wind or there's not so much sun. But all higher renewable energy production and shares of the overall energy supply also puts huge demands on grids to accommodate the new sources and fluctuating production. Better integrated energy markets should secure that energy gets to the places needed, and also that it smoothens price fluctuations. This thinking is at the heart of the EU program of projects of common interest, PCIs, which is a category of projects that the European Commission has identified as a key priority for interconnecting Europe's energy system infrastructure. There are several Greek interconnectors on this list, and I can say so also in Greece and more generally, we have financed a large number of medium and low voltage electricity distribution schemes geographically dispersed throughout the peninsula and insular Greece. And these projects, they enable the connection of new system users, and they also improve the current standards of safety and reliability of the distribution network. We are at this stage in discussions with HETNO for the financing of a major project for the rollout of electricity smart meters, where the aim is to increase consumer awareness of the cost of energy and thus spurring energy efficiency. The bank is also heavily involved in electricity interconnections, given the large number of islands and the need to have them connected with the mainland grid. We have financed the Crete Attica and Crete Peloponnese interconnections, along with the first phases of the Cyclades interconnection. And we are now discussing with IPTO the potential financing of the fourth stage of the Cyclades interconnection. The Greek government also has a strong focus on interconnectors to other countries, and there's not enough, also because there's not enough local base supply of power to balance the fluctuating renewable energy production. As a result of this, we are involved in talks on additional interconnectors to Albania and to Cyprus, and also in very early talks on the interconnector that the Greek government and Egypt are exploring at this stage. But it's not only about more energy supply, it's also about how we use it. If we use the energy more efficient, it means that you do more with less energy. And we believe this is one of the most important answers to both meeting the climate goals and to become less dependent on Russian fossil fuels. And although current investments in energy efficiency are sizable, a much larger scale is needed to reach the emission reduction targets. Actually, 4 out of 5 European buildings that exist today will still be standing in 2050. And most of those buildings are not energy efficient. The renovation rate is so far advancing at a rate of only 1% a year, and the European Commission has set the objective of at least doubling this rate by 2030 and to foster deep energy renovation of buildings. Over the last 10 years, annual EIB energy efficiency financing has increased by a factor of 5 to around 6 billion euros annually today. But given the importance of more efficient use of energy, the EIB is now developing a new strategy to respond to the vast building renovation needs within the EU. And we think the opportunities are large for all shareholders, stakeholders in this respect. The high energy prices, they make these investments even more profitable for the investors. And there's a huge amount of both EU and national grants available for these kinds of projects. Also, we believe that in Greece, there's ample room to actually increase energy efficiency, that both in both industry and buildings. Annually, we make sort of an investment survey of a very large number of European companies, and this investment survey shows that Greek companies invest much less in energy efficiency than their European peers. So, at the end of 2020, the bank and the Greek government signed a 375 million euros investment program loan, Electra, aiming to improve energy efficiency in public buildings and other venues such as schools, hospitals, and sports facilities. The program will improve insulation, replace obsolete heating and cooling equipment, and increase the use of renewable energy, and we expect it to generate energy savings of at least 30%. So these were the three sort of main focus areas of our engagement in Greece in the energy area the next 3 years: more renewable energy, better interconnections, and also more energy efficiency, higher energy efficiency investments into that. But let me also just say a few words on our general cooperation in Greece, also in relation to energy and climate, because last year our EIB group financing in Greece amounted to almost 5 billion euros. And this was only possible because the EIB group and our dedicated investment team for Greece enjoys a very, very good cooperation with the Greek partners, notably the government and the ministries. On energy and climate, we're working on a very strong pipeline with both private and public sector partners, including state-owned companies. Sorry. And we are hugely committed to fulfill the objectives of the Greek government in the agreement that EIB has made with the government on implementing 5 billion euros of Greek recovery and resilience facility loans. We our role in this is to identify and develop, identify projects and develop them with companies, and then make loans to the companies on behalf of the Greek government, and sometimes also when we co-finance some of top. And the prime focus of these investments will be to support climate action, green energy transition, and digital transformation, but also alongside other sectors that reflect social and economic priorities in Greece. In the European Investment Bank, we also have a role in assessing the projects and managing the proceeds of estimated 1.5 to 1.8 billion euros provided under the so-called ETS directive for the decarbonization of the Greek islands. And in a similar vein, let me mention the European Modernization Fund. This is an EU program to support 10, or existing EU program that supports 10 lower-income EU countries to modernize energy systems and improve energy efficiency. And I'm happy to note now that the European Commission's proposal for the Fit for 55 package includes Greece and Portugal, as also beneficiary members of this modernization fund, which means quite large financing possibilities. The exact amounts will depend on the prices of these ETS quotas. And in the modernization fund, the EIB also plays an important role, because we assess the projects that are proposed, and we manage the money, and we also run the secretariat of this modernization fund. Lastly, I would say, in relation to the planned phasing out of lignite, which is now will take a little bit more time than envisaged, we are in discussions with the Western Macedonia region, classified by the Commission as a just transition region. And our joint aim is to approve and finance support various sub-projects such as energy and transport, district heating, public transport, energy efficiency, and social infrastructure to help sort of cope with the challenges that the phasing out of lignite will mean in the Western Macedonia. It's one of the regions most impacted by energy transition, and they face, as we see it, and I know this is also the Greek authorities' view on this, they face exceptional social and economic cost of the transition. So we will continue to be engaged in the region with a view to boost economic growth. Let me sum up by reiterating that as the EU Climate Bank, we are focusing on the critical investments for the next generation. We take our policy guidance from the EU and appraise the projects in terms of financial viability, project quality, alignment with EU policy, and then also a number of other banking requirements. From technical assistance to a suite of financial projects and co-financing with the European Commission, we continue to strive to adapt and to maintain our relevance through changing circumstances. The European energy systems are at a turning point, and the EIB, in partnership with many stakeholders, will certainly be present in key investments to ensure that energy is available. Also in Greece, a key partner of the bank. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much. And I will wait for you to sit and have a conversation. So, you described the three areas that EIB is helping investments: renewable energy, transmission, and energy efficiency. Would EIB consider funding projects relating to natural gas in order to facilitate energy transition and energy independence, especially in the light of the recent developments with the Ukrainian war and the effort of Europe to stop Russian natural gas? And I'm referring either to pipeline projects or exploration projects as well.
That's a very good question, Harris. As you might know, the EIB became sort of the climate, or we have decided to become the climate bank a couple of years ago, and one of the elements in that was a decision by our board of directors that we would prioritize our capital for investments in renewables and not fossils. And this decision stands as it is. But as you also mentioned, that's also why this it's a very relevant question as of now, because the EIB has also always acknowledged that natural gas has a central role in the energy transition. And of course, it's interesting now when it's a high European priority to not sort of increase gas use, but to replace Russian gas with gas from elsewhere. Could we have a role in that? As I said, we have no new decisions on that, but it will be a discussion we will probably have also in the light of the coming council conclusions on energy that will come up. But so we'll see how that where that will go.
You presented your involvement in Greece, in Greek projects. Greece has set a plan to open the offshore wind parks in the next couple of years. Would the EIB participate in such projects? Offshore, I mean, have you funded offshore wind projects elsewhere?
Yeah, we would be very interested to participate in that. Of course, due to the specific of the projects, but generally we have financed quite a lot of wind energy also on sea, also offshore. We have gained quite a lot of experience in the North Sea, and we think that, or believe that this is a technology that will only increase in capacity over the next many years. So we will definitely be interested in that, and I think we can provide both financing, but also sort of we'll have the knowledge also to contribute in more technical terms on that.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more time for other questions. Thank you very much for your participation in the Delphi Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.